So I'm Jonathan, I'm an alcoholic. Thank you, Jackie, for asking me to do this. I don't want to be up here, but I want to stay sober, so I do things I don't want to grow spiritually. My sobriety date is August 21st of 23. I have a sponsor, he has a sponsor. I've had the privilege of taking a man through the book. It's been a ride, and I'm going to tell you what it was like, what happened, and what it's like now. So, I'm from here. I'm 35 years old. I was born in December 89, right up the road at Moore Regional. My mother is a saint, or was a saint, and my father was a hell of raising drunk like me. But with that being said, he's a good person. Just because you're a hell raising drunk doesn't make you a bad person, right? I have an older brother who is not one of us, a younger brother who is not one of us, but he'll have a drink every now and then. So, like I said, I'm from here. Mom and Dad were separated early. I was like 2 years old. And that ended up being one of the greatest gifts that God's ever given me, because it did give me my younger brother. And y'all will hear me refer to him as my younger brother. You'll never hear me say half brother. That's the one and only time, because I don't believe in that shit. Excuse my language. I probably cuss a little bit here and there too. I'll end up bouncing back and forth. I've done this a couple times and I can't never get it in order. But so yeah, growing up it was all right. I didn't get to see Dad much. He had custody on the weekends, and when I did get to go to his house, it was me and the boys. Dad worked at Budweiser when it was right here on Highway 5 for a long time, and then he worked at a place called Bruce's Tavern. I've got a lot to tell y'all about that place. So yeah, it was just me and the brothers. Didn't really spend much time with Pops at all. Mom was a nurse right here in Moore Regional in the ER for a long time. My oldest is 7 years older, so he never did a lot of partying, but I got to see a lot of partying growing up. I can tell you, I will never forget my first drink. So, my grandfather, he owns that place called Bruce's Tavern on Pennsylvania Avenue. And back in the day, him and half the drunks in Moore County would get together and they'd go to the races. We'd go to Rockingham twice a year and Charlotte 3 times a year. And I remember always went with him because I was never old enough to stay and party with Pops and the older people, right? So I always went with Papa. And I remember reaching down over the bleacher one day and opening up my dad's cooler. And I grabbed a bottle of water. I won't ever forget the label. Blue Sam's Club bottle of water. Picked it up, took about 3 swigs of it, and it was not water. I remember that burning sensation, burned like hell, and I don't remember the end of that race. So, yeah, growing up was all right. I'm a spoiled brat. I never went with needing anything, and I got most of everything I ever wanted. So growing up was fine. School was interesting. I think everybody's got the same elementary, middle school stories. But I do remember, I'm not going to say that I felt different or didn't fit in, but I'm 5'9", I can't shoot, I'm too small to tackle somebody, so I'm not athletic at all. One thing I can do, though, is I love anything that's raceable, any kind of motorsport, right? And that was my first mental exception, is these radio-controlled cars. And I obsessed over it because I was good at it. I won my first national championship at age 11, right down here on US 1. It was Locust Lumber. It's changed since then. I don't know what it is now. So, and I obsessed over it on until now. I still do. Still love to do it. I remember getting into high school, and school's all right. I never made the best grades. As soon as I got my license, school was about over. It was riding around with my buddies, maybe smoking some weed, maybe chasing women. Never really drank much though. So at this time, I'm talking about race cars or something I obsess over. I can't remember. I'm in high school, right? So I'm 16 to 18. And Pops buys us three boys a big car. We race it at Caraway Speedway in Asheboro. And so now I'm really not in school, one, because I love working on a race car, and two, my older brother couldn't drive with shit, so I always had something to do. It's true. And it ruined a relationship that doesn't work out for a reason, but I ruined it. It was after high school that I ruined it, but just as an example, I remember she came down to the shop one night. It was homecoming. Like, we're not going to the football game. I'm like, no, baby, I gotta get this race car ready. And she's mad as hell. And I mean, I had to get it ready. And plus, Union Pines was gonna get beat by 40 anyway, so it didn't matter. So anyway, I ended up ruining that in college. We'll skip back to high school a little bit. So in high school, I started farming. I've got a tight circle of buddies who I'm still tight with today. They're not necessarily like me, or either that or they haven't found it out yet. So it's a tobacco farm in Carthage, and we did that for a long time. And that's probably when I really started drinking. You work from sun up, sundown in a tobacco field, and we didn't have no machines. I pulled it by hand. You wanted a beer come dark time when you got off. And it was all right. It was acceptable. We weren't going nowhere. We basically lived at my buddy Ben's house all summer. So we party like rock stars. Work hard, party hard, right? And that was probably the beginning of my notorious drinking career. So we get through high school. I wasn't much on, anything higher academically. But my parents were. They were on me pretty hard. And I went to Sand Hills and screwed off. And they just got harder on me. So I gave up, right? And I decided I was going to go to school. I got in the state, and I didn't get in on my GPA. I got in on my SAT scores. So I moved up to state with my buddy Ben, farmer, and another buddy, Patrick. And I minored in mechanical engineering, and I majored in sex, drugs, and rock and roll. That lasted for about 2 years, and I had a counselor just break it down to me. He's like, Jonathan, you just need to drop out before you get kicked out. I said, all right. So I did. That's what I did. So I transferred what little credits I did have over to Charlotte. And by this time, my parents were about done wasting money on my furthering education myself. And they just lay it down to me like, do it or don't do it. Like, just nicely is how they put it. So I get into it, right? I get into it pretty deep. I'm doing a thing. I'm making decent grades. I don't remember why I was home this weekend, but I was home and ended up partying like rock stars. And I flipped my truck in Niagara. So get my one and only Dewey. And that's by the grace of God, because I got a driver's license now and I shouldn't have them. And so that puts a burden on a lot of things. I lose my license. It destroyed my vehicle. And so I'm asking one of my roommates who I went to high school with, I'm living with in Charlotte. I'm riding back and forth with him. I'm asking my younger brother to take me back and forth up there. And it puts a burden. But I say it was a blessing too, because this time I've started to come home, make some money. I'm starting to work with my pops at Bruce's Tavern. And that was the most fun I've ever had. I'm actually doing something I like to do. I'm spending time with pops. I'm getting that one-on-one relationship I never got. I loved it. I loved every minute of it. And it was good. That was like April 2013, that area, when I wrecked my truck. So I'm working with pops, bouncing back and forth from Charlotte. And again, I'm home one weekend, and I don't know why. A good buddy of mine who I went to high school with and did a lot of partying in Boone with, his name was Caleb. He was home from school. His daddy was a war hero, and they were celebrating him. And he was on his way back from that celebration. He was probably drinking and driving. Ended up wrecking his car and dying like 100 yards from his house. And that hurt me and my buddy JC, and it hurt a lot of people. One young lady's here tonight. I'm happy to see her here. So that was rough, man. We bounced we did the funeral. We left the funeral. Me and my buddy JC went straight back up to Boone because we know his parents were coming. We didn't want the parents to see what was, we had to tidy up a little bit. So next week, I forgot to mention this guy's name. His name's James. James was a really close friend of my older brother and somebody who I admired growing up. He was doing at that time what I wanted to do, which is work on race cars for a living. He's actually the one that pulled some strings and got my ass into Charlotte. Is really what happened. So I envy James, and I'm just going to be honest. So James is an African American working in NASCAR, and back in early 2010s, it was still hard. He was there because he was really damn good at what he did, and he was a mentor, so to speak, for me. So I lost my buddy Caleb. James is he's in the mountains, and just got shot at Walmart. So that's 2 weeks in a row, right? And of course I'm drinking the pain away because that's what I know how to do. I've got the coping skills of a toddler. And the third week, I'm not sure. Again, that whole month is blurry. Third week I was home and I was at my grandma's house. I spent a lot of time at my grandma's house right down here in Aberdeen. Ironically, it's the big white house on the corner of Pine and High. So, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and I'm in bed, and y'all, my mother was the type of mother that she bought me a cell phone so she could call me. And like she'd call me 10, 12 times a day. If I didn't answer, she'd call my buddies. Like she wanted to know where her baby boy was at. And so I looked over, and it was like 11 o'clock at night, and it was Mom, and I'm like, I'm not talking to Mom tonight. I'm tired. I'm going to bed. It's probably the biggest regret I've ever had because Mom had a massive heart attack that night. So I'm working at the bar that morning, and I see my aunts pull up like a bat out of hell. Like, they don't ever show up, and they take Dad outside. I'm like, this is weird, and that's when they broke the news to me. So yeah, I'll always regret that. So 3 weeks in succession, I lost 2 good buddies and my mother. And, I did what I do. I got numb. And I know how to do that. So, but this time, I go back to school and I'm not in it. I'm making grades enough to stay in there, but my heart's not in it no more. And I'm in Daytona for the 500, with a group of buddies. And I remember my granddaddy and dad, they used to go every year. Take that group of drunks that go to Charlotte, they go to Daytona. And so I'm trying to call Dad because they just redid the whole front stretch of the speedway, and it's pretty as hell. So I'm gonna call Pops, tell him about it. And my uncle answers the phone. And granted, this is like a year and a half after Mom died. And my uncle answers the phone. I'm like, yeah, let me talk to Pops. And he's like, well, look, your dad's not here right now. He's in the hospital, but it ain't nothing to be worried about. Well, okay, right. So I don't want to go to the race. The airport's right there. I want to get my ass on the damn plane and come home. Only problem is I drove down there. I drove everybody else down there. So I sit through the race, and I'm not enjoying the one thing that I truly love. I'm just ready to get home, right? And I get home, and what I found out is Dad probably drinking, right? He fell down some steps outside of this big white house and broke his hip. So they took him in to have a hip operation, and long story short, he didn't get enough oxygen to his brain, and it fried him. So I'm 24. And when I say be thrown into the business is not the right thing to say because I wanted it, right? I wanted that bar, and I got it. I pissed a lot of family off. They thought that they had the right to have it. Not while I'm alive. Sorry. So that was bad times family-wise. So now, like I said, I'm 24 years old, and I own that bar. And to this day, me and my brother still own that bar. And if y'all have certain thoughts about that, that doesn't bother me. I've been called a hypocrite in this building before. Don't care no more. So yeah, we still own that bar to this day. And it went well. It went well for a long time. Gradually, I started drinking. more, and more. At work, right? Doesn't bother me. The ALE could walk in at any time. Doesn't bother me. Got a red Solo cup, throw it in the trash. You know, I could justify it. Versus I'm sitting in the bartender stool and it's nothing but glass. So I see every car that comes in and out. So I'm not worried about the law. Just slowly and slowly and slowly. Speed up a little bit. The ain't no way I'm gonna take it there. Anyway, speed up a little bit. It's the pandemic happens, and so this whole time, right? My pops is he's still living. He's not living. He's existing. He's still breathing on his own. He doesn't really know who I am, and I'll be honest with you. And it took me and my sponsor a little bit of work on this. It's because I kicked myself for probably a year after I got sober because of this. I never went and seen my pops. I seen him maybe 5 times in maybe a 4-year period. And I always blamed it on, I seen my grandfather go through Alzheimer's and having to wipe his ass and this, and I didn't want to see my dad like that, and I just didn't, right? But truth be told is I met the master of a bottle by this time, and I don't want nobody to separate us, whether it be my sick father, you, or anybody else. It's me and that bottle. So 2020 comes around, and I'm at this little car race in Orlando, and it's the biggest race in the world. It comes from all over the planet, and there's really nobody there. None of the Europeans are there. None of the Asians are there, and it's COVID, right? And it's January, so we've heard a little bit about it, but it's not really hit here yet. And it's, just being an American, it ain't that big of a deal. I ain't worried about it, this and that, blah, blah. Anyway, come second week in March, my father finally does succumb to his injuries, and he passes. And, I said my goodbyes and my apologies, and I was all right with it because, like I said, he was existing, he wasn't living. So now COVID hits. And COVID shuts us down, man. And I don't know what to do. Me and my brother are in the middle of transitioning the business out of his name into ours. We don't get any PPE help. We don't get anything from the government because it's a new business, right? We don't get any help. So we're paying personal bills and business bills out of our own pocket. And it's rough. Some of y'all who are from around here, you probably know that Bruce's Tavern has a drive-thru. I am able to do that, right? So during COVID, I'm able to sell drinks out the window. But that's not amounting to nothing. That didn't cover my bar tab. Because I took a recliner that I had at my house, I put it in the middle of the bar, and I sat in that recliner and drank all day, every day. And so I'm stressing, right? Like, I don't know if this is going to last long. Like, I don't know what's about to happen to me financially, personally. Like, I'm getting depressed. So what's every good alcoholic do when he's depressed? He drinks more. And eventually I got tired of drinking there, right? And so like a good alcoholic, I'm gonna go somewhere. I'm gonna change something. Well, there's one city that never closed in America during COVID, and that was Vegas. So I get my ass to RDU and I go to Vegas. Yeah, you did too. So granted, I've not made any money in like 4.5, 5 months, and I think, yeah, we're going to Vegas, right? Sure. And Vegas was Vegas. It was wide open. You didn't have to worry about nothing. It was like COVID never happened out there. Sure, you had to wear a mask here and there, but it is what it is. Life went on. And I remember thinking, I'm in my room. I've got a lady of the night that, had a phone number. I had a substance there and a handle of whiskey. And I remember thinking, life ain't that bad. Well, life went back to hell when we got home. It's still closed. So COVID kept us shut down until September. Like, I don't know, it ended up being a little over 7 months. And I don't think that North Carolina actually said, all right, you're a bar, you can open back up. But me and my brother decided, look, we're either going to open up and lose it, or they're going to take it from us, or we're going to lose it. So we just opened back up, right? But by this time, my alcoholism is it's peaked, right? even after we opened up, I can't slow it down like I kind of used to. It was a rager all day, every day. If I was awake, Jonathan Clark Medlin was drinking his ass off. It got so bad, man. So I used to have this condo at Highland Hills on the 8th Fairway, and like I destroyed it. I didn't care. I didn't care about it anymore. I didn't care about myself. Like it was a damn maze of Budweiser and Crown bottles through my house. Right, there was a little path to my couch and a little path to my bedroom. I trashed the place. It was terrible. If I was away, like I said, if I'm waking up, I'm not reaching for eggs. I'm reaching for a bottle, and I didn't have any trouble getting it. It's accessible. It's not an excuse. It's just the truth. I never ran out. So taking a shower, drinking, going to work, drinking, and by this time, I'm starting to have this pain in my feet, and I don't know why. And okay, so I'm hurting. I don't feel good. I know how to fix that. Drink. And I'm not sure if anybody tried to get a primary doctor around here by, I will say, 21. But I didn't have one, and it was really damn hard. It was like a waiting list of months to get a primary physician. Luckily, I was bitching about my feet one day at work, and this guy who I've known for years and never knew he was an MD was there. And he's like, "Hell, just come see me." Sure. All right, cool. Long story short is I'm having this pain in my feet and like unbearably where sometimes I can't walk. And what it is, I've developed neuropathy in my feet. And what he tells me is because of, poor nutrition and drinking. Because I'm not eating. Like I could take a ham sandwich and go a week. That'd be good. Stay drunk, I'd be good. And so at this time, I'm like, all right, damn, how do you fix it? Well, you really don't fix it. It's nerve damage. It could fix itself. It may not. Of course, I'm an alcoholic and a drug addict, so I asked for, pain pills, and he's like, nah, we're not going down that road. And so, like, it's still to the point where, like, so I'm powerless, right? I'm absolutely powerless. I know what's wrong with me. I know what's caused it, and I don't even slow down. Damn sure don't stop. I don't slow down. Just keep on. Keep on like it was. And it's just getting worse and worse and worse. And my brother knows a lot of people in Moore County, and I remember asking him, like, please just find me a pain pill. Call somebody. He's like, So I ain't doing that. He said, most of it's fake, and you're going to suffer. I ain't letting you die. I said, all right, okay. So, again, I'm powerless, right? I don't know what to do because I'm not going to quit drinking. That's my best friend. I'm not putting him down. So I continue working. I don't mind working. I work 7 days a week, sometimes 12 hours a day. I don't mind it because my best friend's there and I can't run out of him. So I'm good with working. Well, lo and behold, a guy who comes in there, I find out, does get a prescription for Percocet. So it's clean. I can basically buy as much as I want. Here we go, right? And we're going to go down that road a little bit. So towards the end of this whole drunk story, which I'm trying to get to the end of it, I'm drinking all the time. I wake up drinking. Sometimes I'd wake up like shaking so damn bad. I said when I was at the colony, I called it Elvis legs. My damn leg would just shake like hell. So I knew how to fix that. I'd get to the bar and I couldn't even do paperwork, shaking so bad. Nothing that, 3 Fireballs and 2 Budweisers won't fix, and I'm good to go for the rest of the day or for a few hours. So I'm drinking. I get home. I continue to drink, and I might sleep an hour. Well, I know how to fix that. So I drank to oblivion. I wake up, eat 2 Percocets, continue to drink, then I really am blacked out until the next morning. And this goes on and on and on. And like I've done pushed all my buddies away. I told you about the family I've done pissed off. We'll talk about them later. And pretty much everybody but the people I work around, and my younger brother. He never left me. See, I'm the type of drunk, I knew I needed help, right? I'd sit on the bar stool and be like, yeah, I need to get a treatment. But saying it on a bar stool and have the willingness to do it is two completely different things. I went a long time, didn't have the willingness to do it. And a good buddy of my brother's, and now a guy who I think highly of, his name's Scott. He'd whisper in my ear, man, this place in Rockingham, we can get you in. Place in Rockingham, we can get you in. And I brushed him off, and like I ended up just tapping out. And I remember asking my brother, or telling him, like, I do not want to go to Rockingham. I don't want to be anyone that I know. Like, I'm embarrassed, highly embarrassed. I don't want to be around nobody I know. And he put it to me easy one day. He's like, well, you got $40,000? No. So I remember leaving the bar one Friday night. You know, I would say half cocked, but I was fully cocked. I get to the house, and I'm like, man, I need to do something about this. But I don't remember the next part. Saturday morning, I wake up, and I got some text from my brother, and it read something along the lines of, hell yeah, bud, about time. Monday morning, we're going to Asheboro. And so I scrolled to where I'm sending the text, and it said, excuse my language, fuck it, I'm ready. I do not remember doing that. I like to think that was God doing something for me that I couldn't do for myself. So here we go. We go to Asheboro actually, I worked that Sunday night and pull a good one on. Y'all, I was raised in that bar. I love that place. Like, love that place. I remember kissing that bar when I was walking out that door Sunday night because I didn't know if I'd ever see it again. So we go off to Asheboro, and I got on the phone with some guy named Art Smith. Y'all might know him. He looks like Ace Ventura sometimes. He's one of my best friends today, though, and he told me that I was an asshole on the phone, that I acted like I was locked up. So I was in detox for, I don't know, 9 days, something like that. And I seen a big book in there, and I picked it up and I read a little bit. And, you know, everything I read, like we all said, like, damn, that's me. Damn, that's me. Damn, that's me. And so about after the 8th or 9th, I remember it was a Tuesday because this lady, Miss Kelly, she kept saying, Jonathan, you're leaving Tuesday. And because I'd ask her every day when you're leaving, it's Tuesday. Tuesday, Chase come got me. Remember that blue Dodge van? I was so excited to see that thing. I remember him asking me, like, you got a wallet and a cell phone? I'm like, yeah. He's like, you want to go through your bag and make sure everything's there? I was like, nah, if it ain't there, they can have it. Let's go. So off to the safe house I went, and I was at the safe house for a while. About 2 weeks, I was with Chase. I remember asking him if I needed to send my mail there. I didn't, because see, before I went to detox, my buddy Scott, who I mentioned, he's like, man, it's going to be all right. You'll be in detox 3 days, and like you'll be at the safe house for 4, and you'll be in treatment. I didn't know what the hell I got myself into. But the safe house was fine. A lot of people don't like it. I didn't mind it at all. Chase is a good dude. He takes care of you. He's got a lot of sobriety. He knows a lot about this thing. And on the weekends, a guy named Raymond was there. He was a cool cat. Brought us here a lot. So anyway, all right, we'll get to treatment. And now, I mean, I don't know what. Actually, let's get back. So I remember Chase brought me here the other night. I got detox, and he brings me here, and it's Tuesday night. He's keeping it sober. And I bet I smoked like 8 cigarettes out there before I walked in the door, because I mean, I don't know what to expect. The only thing I knew about AA is it's somewhere that one of my customers went to for a while, and he come back. That's all I knew about AA, right? And I walked in the door, and I made eye contact with a guy who I've known all my adult life, and I'd say most of my life. He's real good friends with my pops, good friends with my granddaddy. He's in the same business that I am. And when I made eye contact, man, I started crying my damn eyes out. And he told me, he calmed me down. He said, Jonathan, he said, there's nobody in that room that's not done the same thing, if not worse than you. And I felt at ease, right? And I said, man, you're going to be my sponsor. He said, why don't you just start sitting your ass in a chair? So that's what I did. So, all right, so now I'm at the colony, and I've never been to treatment. I know a couple people who's been through there, and I know how good their life is. So, man, I just go in open-minded. I'm pretty good about doing what I'm told to do. And so the process starts, and what I found out is I found out a lot about me. That I am a Class A selfish prick. I don't care about you. I care about what's in your pocketbook. It's me, myself, and I. It's my three favorite people. That was my biggest problem. I found out that I also have a spiritual malady. I don't even know if malady is the right word. I think spiritually, emotionally, mentally, physically, I was bankrupt, right? So now I know what's wrong with me, and I'm learning a solution to fix what's wrong with me. What's wrong with me is I have a disease that centers in my mind. I have a terrible way of thinking, and I have to fix that. I'm reintroduced into the big book, and for those who's been to the colony, y'all know the spiel. You're told to read a certain amount, and this, and this, and this, and this. And I was asked who I wanted to be my sponsor, and I told him the gentleman who I wanted to be. And he said, all right, we can probably make that happen. So he comes in. I picked him because, like I said, I know him. He's in the same business that I am. And I thought he might be a little easier than Mark and Barry to deal with. He's not. Not when it comes to this, he's not. He does this thing to the 10th degree. He does this thing. And I remember him walking in, and he said, Jonathan, he's like, look, man, he said, I really don't have time to do this. He said, but I love you, so we're going to do this. He said, but don't waste my time. And so now I'm shook. I'm like, damn, I got to go through the paperwork. I'm nervous as hell now. So anyway, we go through the paperwork. I get out of the colony. My plan was I'm going back to my condo, and I'm going back to work. I'm 28 days, I'm cured, right? I'm good to go. Feel good and ready to rock. The guy who runs the treatment center got a hold of me, and he didn't really talk me into it. He told me what I was going to do. To a certain extent, what he said is he knows how much my younger brother means to me. He said, if you won't do it for yourself, do it for him. Hadn't you put him through enough hell? Hadn't you stolen enough of his time? Hadn't you worried him enough? All right, deal. That, y'all, was the best decision I ever made, was recovery home. I know some people have mixed feelings about them, but from my experience, it's the best thing that ever happened. What it did for me is it gave me a safe place. It put me in the middle of a group of guys who I wouldn't trade anything for. I've got this great network now, and they help keep me sober at times. I can go to any one of them at any time of the day. I can call them if they don't live with me. I'm blessed to know the fellows that I do. So like I said, I'm powerless over alcohol. Now it's time I get in the book with my sponsor. And I remember we're going through the book, and I had this little side hustle. I hadn't done it in a while. But what I would do is I'd build these toy cars for customers, and I'd sell them. And I'm still in my 90-90, and I'm at my condo, and I'm building this car, this 10th scale. It's not this big. And I'm dealing with shims that's in 10,000ths of an inch, right? So it takes all my brain power to properly build one of these cars, right? And all of a sudden, I get this thought, like, damn, I can go for a Fireball right now. So I'm sitting here, I'm building this car, but I can't do it in Moore County, because I know everybody in Moore County. But I can go to Lee County. And then it just clicked, like, what am I thinking? So I get in my car and I go back to that safe place I talked about, which was the Arby's house. And my sponsor put it to me that was step 2, right? He restored me to sanity. I did what I was supposed to do. Actually, I didn't do what I was supposed to do. I didn't call him, and he got on my ass about that. So I remember reading the book with him, and we're at step 3, and he told me, look, Jonathan, for him, God is everything or he is nothing. And I don't have to take that venue to say, maybe that's not the right word. I don't have to do it the way he does it, but I want what he has. See, I saw my sponsor at his worst, and I see him at his best. I want what that man has. So I try to do everything he does the way he does it. I get up here and I read How It Works a lot. My roommate told me one time, he said, damn, you sound like Maxie reading that. I don't know. So step 3, you do it in treatment, but I didn't do it. That's when I did it. It was 10 toes down then, right? God is everything or he is nothing. I'm going to give my life, my will over to him. So the tables used to be right over there, about right there now. We said the prayer, and that's when, stuff started clicking. And he told me, he said, Jonathan, if you'll trust the process, I promise you a peace and a happiness that you never dreamed possible. And you'll hear him say it sometimes in his story. Trust what, right? What's the process, right? I don't understand the process. You hear a lot, the process. Well, for me now, the process is a new lifestyle, a new way of thinking, and a new way of going about living life. That's the process. So I do what he tells me to do. I trust him. We'll get into 4 and 5 again, and I remember him saying, it was something about fears. And he's like, you weren't completely honest with your fears. And I'm like, nah, I'm scared of every damn thing, right? I'm scared of myself. I'm scared of y'all. I might not be telling a story the way y'all want it to. Blah, blah, blah. I'm fearful. So we spend most of that time on fears and a couple of resentments. 6, 7, and 8, it was about the same. 6 and 7 was about the same as it was at the colony. 8 is where my life's really starting to change. So I mentioned y'all about some family issues when it comes to that bar, about me taking it over. Me and one of my aunts, man, we said some really terrible things to each other. There was a time in my life where I didn't give a damn if she took another breath. I remember her taking her gold spoon and shoving it up her ass. It was bad times. But the process, make the amends. I made those amends, and I ate Christmas dinner at her house. I didn't know if I was going to go in there and get a gun pointed at me or what, but it was, it was awesome. It was the first time in years that basically all the cousins have got together and sat down and broke bread. It was cool. So the promises are coming true. I go back a little bit, not long. I'll say about the 6-month mark. I get the opportunity to go work for Pilgrim Progress. I did safe house on the weekends for about 8 months. That was that place means a lot to me. Just like Samaritan Colony, that safe house and Pilgrim's Progress in general means a lot to me. And it was it was good. If you ever get a chance to do some kind of service like that, I would suggest it. So every other weekend, I get to see that look of desperation on a group of fellas, and it reminds me of my time in there, right? And I don't mean it to sound like a bad thing, but I'm just going to say how I feel about it. It reminds me of where I could end back up, because I'm more than capable of this again. If I don't do what I'm supposed to do, I've got the key to Bruce's Tavern. I can go in there, and there's more liquor in there, and I can drink, and it can all be over tonight. So that it reminded me of that. It kept me humble. Like, that's what this disease will do to you if you don't do what you're supposed to do. So that was a privilege to do that for about 8 months. Life today is something special. Me standing in front of y'all, telling the story, that's not my work. That's not my sponsor's work. I mean, that's God's work. January 1st in Daily Reflection says, I am a miracle, and that I am. Because I'm not a garden variety drunk. I'm beyond that. Like I said, I'm selfish. I'm a damn good manipulator. And God He's blessed me. The support I've gotten through all this, it's been amazing. I mentioned I could talk to y'all all hour about what my younger brother's done for me. Through this whole 16 months now, give or take a couple weeks, he's let me worry about me. I'm blessed enough to where I didn't have to worry about my light bill, my rent payment, food, gas in my vehicle. He took care of the business. And the deal was I get sober and I go get my CDLs and work for him. And forgot to mention that. I did that in May, so I drive for him every now and then, not as much as I like. I still go back to that bar maybe once or twice a week. I go in and do paperwork in the morning. Before I unlock that door, I ask God to walk in with me. Because temptation is all around me, and I need Him there. God has He's given me so many opportunities through this process. Some of y'all know I just got back from Africa, South Africa. That was an amazing trip. It was an eye-opening experience, and it's halfway across the world, and 15-hour plane ride later, they've got the same problems we do. They have mental obsessions. They're drunks and alcoholics just like us. But one thing that's different is they don't have the resources that we have. So I hope nobody takes that for granted. They don't have a detox really, or a treatment center like Samaritan Colony, or a Wilder building to go to when they get out. This is a blessing. It really is, and I just hope y'all realize how much it is. It's been a hell of a ride. It's not over with yet. I'm just going to keep coming back here. If y'all don't go to the early riders meeting, I suggest you try it. There's a lot of sobriety in there, a lot of good stuff. So, y'all, thank you for your time. Thanks for letting me share. Appreciate it.